Hello you! It's Loza from the Baking Mad Gym Addict. I was excited and G'd up to start my food prep session this week because my husband and I were pumped up full of happy feel-good hormones after our first ever yoga class together. I'm not really a yoga kind of gal, but I found this experience really fun. The yoga class was led by celebrity yoga instructors and held on Bondi Beach here in Australia. It was so nice being at one with the ocean and the sand. I think at one point during the class I might have found my inner zen, but I've since lost it again, so hopefully it'll come back soon. If you've seen my previous video showing a day in my life, you'll know that whenever I visit Bondi Beach, I have to visit the bar gym to see how many chin-ups I can do. Today was a personal record. I managed to do 7 in a row, which is the most I've ever done in my life. Woohoo! I felt so good afterwards, and I was pretty strict in trying to get my chin over the bar and keeping my arms straight. If you want me to teach you how to do chin-ups, check out my video in the description box for my hints and tips. Anyway, back to food prepping. This week I roasted some chicken, made some salad, some sweet potatoes, some homemade tomato soup and some homemade cornbread. The cornbread recipe was given to me by my friends of Cher and Hannibal, and they've said it's okay for me to share the recipe with you guys, which I'm super happy about. I believe the recipe is called a sopa paragaya recipe, and it made a delicious accompaniment to my soup. My version ended up kinda like a spongy cake, which I just ate with my tomato soup. I didn't bother filming how I roasted my chickens because you'll have seen by now how I do that in my previous videos. The links are below if you need them. Alrighty, so let's move on to the cornbread. To make this, you'll need to remove the kernels from 6 corn in the cobs. I couldn't get hold of fresh corn in the cob, and so I substituted fresh corn in the cobs with frozen sweet corn. You'll also need 4 eggs, 3 onions, 1 cup of shredded tasted cheese and 1 cup of polenta. Polenta is a cornmeal. It can be used to be baked, fried or grilled. This just reminded me that I had a really good recipe for some polenta pancakes, which I haven't made in a long time, so I might try and give that a go again. So I started off by pouring some boiling hot water over the frozen sweet corn to defrost them. Next I peeled the skin off my brown onions and chopped them up. I then cracked open my eggs and got my polenta and cheese ready to go. Then it's just a matter of putting everything into your food processor. Because I didn't want to kill my Vitamix blender, I put in the eggs, onion and polenta first and blitzed it before subsequently adding the cheese and sweet corn and blending it further. Once you've done that, season your mixture well with salt and pepper. Once you think you've seasoned it enough, season it even more. To make this recipe a success, season the heck out of your cornbread. I then sprayed some butter into my pan and carefully poured the cornbread mixture inside. It then gets left to bake in a 180 degrees Celsius oven, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 50 minutes. At this stage, I realised that I'd got overexcited about the cornbread and that I'd forgotten to put my chicken in the oven. Oops! You'll know by now that you usually start with the food item that takes the longest to cook. At some point in the food prep proceedings, I also peeled and chopped up 2 large sweet potatoes. These then got sprayed with butter and seasoned with Slap Your Mama chilli. A more sensible order for this food prep would be to start with the chicken, then the sweet potato, then the cornbread, then the tomato soup, and then the salad. But I was a bit all over the shop and prepped my things in a funny order. But I know you will be on top of your game, so that's okay. Now for the delicious homemade tomato soup recipe. This recipe is super duper delicious. In fact, it was so good I wish I'd made double the quantity because it was really tasty. I also felt like I didn't have enough tomato soup to go with my cornbread, and so that was slightly upsetting, but hey, I'll know next time. Okay then, for the tomato soup you'll need 14 vine-ripened tomatoes, 2 carrots, 3 tablespoons of tomato and basil Mrs. Dash seasoning. Again, if you need to buy some of this, my iHerb discount code is below and you can get it delivered to you. You'll also need 2 zucchinis, 3 onions, 3 veggie stock cubes, 3 tablespoons of tomato sauce puree, and some honey. Start by peeling your carrots and zucchini. It's nice to add these 2 veggies to the soup because it adds extra bulk and it sneaks in some more veggies into your diet. Once the carrots and zucchini are chopped, the tomatoes and onions also get chopped up. On a medium heat, I sprayed my pan with some coconut oil and plopped in some chopped up onions, zucchini and carrots. After a couple of minutes, I added a wee squeeze of tomato sauce. Next, I poured in 5 cups of boiling water, and then I added the stock cubes, honey, and tomato and basil seasoning. Once that's done, leave the soup to simmer gently on a low heat for around 20 minutes. And then, because I didn't really fancy drinking soup with lots of veggie chunks in it, I poured batches of my soup into my Vitamix blender. And yes, I might have dribbled some soup onto my kitchen worktop surface. But what can I say, I was really excited. I then blitzed the liquid until it was nice, rich and smooth. Once that was done, I seasoned the soup well with salt and pepper. You could even add some chilli seasoning if you like a bit of an extra kick to your soup. I added some freshly cut chives on top. Fresh basil leaves would be a super delicious combo with this soup too. Yum, yum, yum. So by now your cornbread will be ready and you can just take it out of the oven and leave it to cool. To be honest, I took my cornbread out a little bit earlier than I should have, and I only realised this once I started slicing it up, because you could see that although the top was quite firm, the inside of the cornbread was still a bit moist, and so I popped it into the oven for a bit longer so that it could cook even more. I made some simple salad boxes with some avocado wedges with lemon juice squeezed over it, some rocket leaves, cherry tomatoes, and some of the roasted sweet potatoes from earlier. The cornbread made a really delicious addition to the tomato soup. Next time I will definitely make more of the tomato soup because it was an absolute winner of a recipe. As always, you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to keep in touch, and thank you for sending in photos of your food prep. I really love checking them out, so please keep them coming. Catch you next time. Bye!